What's up guys, it's the NJB here, and today I'm going to be going over 2020 for me. I know last year was a hard time for many people, and the events that happened in the past year were a first for most of us, but for me, it was a very important time in my life, and so far my most defining year. Now, before I get into the video, I would like to acknowledge that 2020 was a very trying time with the whole pandemic, the election, the economy crashing, and one of my coworkers did pass away due to this virus. So I'm not in any way trying to ignore the bad things that have happened for many people last year. I'm just trying to say that in my life, a lot of things have happened, and for me, it did change me for the better. So with that in mind, let's get into my 2020. So before the pandemic started, I had already decided to drop out of college. So regardless of what was going to happen in 2020, it was going to be a very different year for me anyways. It was the first year since around 2002 that I was not going to be in some sort of education institution. By the way, 2002 is the year I would have been starting preschool, so that's why I brought it up. Dropping out of college was the biggest choice I've ever made in my life so far, and I had no real plans for what I was going to do after, but I decided that college just wasn't for me and that there had to be more to life than getting a degree and just working a 9 to 5. With that in mind, I made a prayer to that choice and never looked back. I planned to do a separate video talking about the whole lead up to why I dropped out, but all you gotta know is that I just decided it wasn't for me, and hey, I could always go back if I ever feel like it, so that's what I did. So, in the beginning of the year, I just kept living life as usual. I did plan on going to film school later on, but I wanted some time off before making that commitment. I mostly focused on my current job, working more often than not, and I increased my knowledge of personal finance. I had already practiced reducing my spending dramatically and increasing my savings and investing strategies. I was watching many finance videos on YouTube to gain more knowledge about investing and the economy. The main YouTubers I watched were, of course, Graham Stephan and Andrei Jikh, and for the economy, I watched Minority Mindset. I was already the type of person who would save money, and during the end of the previous year, I had already decided I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, so it was only natural that I would gravitate to YouTubers who were talking about financial freedom. When the pandemic started, like everyone else, I found myself furloughed from work, and with nothing but time on my hands, I continued to learn about investing, saving, and basically learn how to become financially independent. Once I received my unemployment card, I began putting that money to work. Unlike many of my friends who used that money to buy cars and travel, I continually poured that money into the stock market and into various cryptocurrencies. Because of this, I have been able to grow my combined investments to over 30K. I invested in Tesla, and that seems to be the stock that keeps on giving, and I also invested into growth stocks. One of them was Booking Holdings, which had dropped around 50% before the pandemic, and that's that. I don't think I've ever been so focused on building wealth like I have in the past year, and investing into the market and crypto is something I will continue to do for the rest of my life. Now, while in the pandemic, personal finance wasn't the only thing I had been learning. In late 2019, I had heard about people making millions by selling products on Amazon, and I had watched a few videos on it, but it was never something I had decided to pursue. After having an argument with my mom about college and oddly getting a car, I was venting to my brother about the whole situation. Believe it or not, my parents want to raise my rent or kick me out if I buy a car, because they think that somehow by me having those expenses means I can afford more rent, I guess. That's how my parents think. It's just silly. But anyways, while I was talking to my brother, I spoke about how school wasn't as important as my parents think because they were still a little frustrated about me dropping out, and that many people make a lot of money while selling on Amazon without a degree. And that's when it hit me. I had spoken about how Amazon sellers make a lot of money doing wholesale and private label, and anyone can do it, but I never considered doing it myself. So that's what I did. I spent a lot of time researching it on YouTube, and I even paid for a course on Jungle Scout. By the end of the summer, I had finished researching everything I felt I needed to know, and I got into the Amazon FBA program. FBA simply means Fulfillment by Amazon, and that means I can pay for products to be made in China and then I can have them shipped over to an Amazon warehouse in the US so they can be shipped to customers. It's a lot more complicated than that, but basically that's what I do now with Amazon. In the last 3 months of 2020, I was able to start selling after my products finally made it to the warehouse in Dallas, and I made around $2,983 during that time frame. Now, the advertising fees and the total cost of both those orders were a lot more. On top of that, the order fees were about half of the total cost of each unit sold, so I'm very much in the red. But honestly, I'm still grateful for this opportunity. The fact that I am a brand new seller who was able to bring in almost $3,000 in revenue in my first 3 months with my new business gives me a lot of confidence for the future. I know that I will be able to continue to expand this business and hopefully use it as a great tool to build wealth for years to come. So the last thing I improved on in 2020 was my personality. Dropping out of college really allowed me to think freely for myself, and investing in starting my own business has forced me to be a lot more assertive. I think quarantine and my lack of school have given me so much time to reflect on myself and really solidify my personality, my beliefs, and how I present myself. I'm a shift lead at my current job, and I would like to admit that sometimes I would not always take charge the way I was supposed to, and sometimes that would cause issues. I guess I didn't want to feel bad for making people work harder, or I didn't want to be that lead that everyone hated. After quarantine, I've changed a lot. I'm a lot more assertive, I'm more straightforward, I plan ahead much more than I did before, and I take control of situations. As an introvert, these types of situations are always strange for me, but I am able to operate in these social settings a lot better than I have before. I guess I just understand that for the job to get done as quickly and efficiently as possible, everyone must do their part, and I do have to put my personal feelings aside to make that happen. I think doing what has to be done in certain situations in life is a big thing that I've learned over the past year. So, in the beginning of 2020, I went into the year praying that God would do something for me after dropping out of school. Now, I have goals I would like to reach. I truly would like to have an entertainment company where I can make my own shows and movies, but right now, I have to put those dreams aside. For this year, I'm going to continue growing my business on Amazon. I am going to keep growing both my stock and crypto portfolios, and I'm going to continue to strive for financial independence. I really would like to be profiting enough of Amazon FBA by the end of 2021 so I can move out and hopefully move out of California as well, but that might be a bit far-fetched, but who knows. It's cheaper in other states, so maybe not that much far-fetched. But I would also like to buy a car as well by the end of the year. So if I keep getting close enough to that, then I'll let you guys know. Either way, that was my 2020, a tough year for most, but a very groundbreaking and defining year for me. I am looking forward to see what happens this year, and if I can reach financial independence by the year's end, or at least be on my way. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers, mates.